What's going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back for another video. So today we got the West Divisions draft review. The NFC and AFC West. Yep, the final two draft reviews I ever got to do for this year. So you already know the drill. Starting off with the basement dweller, working my way up to the champion. So starting off with the AFC West, we are starting this video off with the team that just recently relocated from San Diego to LA, and they are joining the Rams in LA, and that team is the Chargers. I still have not gotten used to calling them the LA Chargers. I always find myself calling them the San Diego Chargers without even realizing it. But anyways, their positions of need were safety, defensive line, wide receiver, offensive line, and quarterback. Philip Rivers is very good, but his time's running out. You know? So let's go through their selections. They had one in each round. They did not trade up or down, so they had 7 picks. Not too bad. So with their first selection, the LA Chargers selected Mike Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson. I'm pretty sure in almost all my mock drafts, I had the Chargers taking Malik Hooker. I thought for sure they were going to go defense, but they went offense. They got themselves another weapon for Philip Rivers. And now they got a guy to go opposite of Keenan Allen. And most likely Travis Benjamin will then be pushed to the slot where he will be super effective with using his speed. And then in the second round selection, the Chargers selected guard Forrest Lamp out of Western Kentucky. This guy was arguably one of the best offensive linemen in the draft, next to Garrett Bowles and Dan Feeney. Oh, and then what did the Chargers do in the third round? Oh, they went after Dan Feeney. Yeah, they drafted Dan Feeney right after drafting Forrest Lamp. So they addressed their offensive line, which was a key need for the Chargers. Not once, but twice. So they got Dan Feeney out of Indiana. I know Nick Fargo was lobbying heavily for Dan Feeney. And then in the fourth round, the Chargers selected Rayshawn Jenkins, safety out of Miami. And then in the fifth round, the Chargers selected Desmond King, safety out of Iowa. So I guess they get a pair of everything. Are they planning on going on Noah's Ark? Because they got 2 guards, 2 safeties, 1 wide receiver. They got 2 safeties and 2 guards, so I guess you got to make sure everything good comes in pairs, I guess, And then with their 6th round selection, the Chargers went offensive line yet again and selected Sam Tevy, tackle out of Utah. Okay. They really wanted to fix the offensive line. It wasn't a very good offensive line, I'll tell you that. But now it's a lot better. And then with the final selection of the draft in the 7th round, the Chargers selected Isaac Rochelle, defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. Now overall, I'm going to give the Chargers, I'm going to give them a B. They addressed pretty much almost all their needy positions except for quarterback. But, they needed offensive linemen. They got 3 of them. They needed secondary. They got 2 safeties. And then they also added a defensive tackle. Can't wait to see what Joey Bosa does with a full season under his belt. That dude's going to be a beast. And then, of course, how could I forget? You also got yourself another receiver to pair with Keenan Allen. Meanwhile, Antonio Gates is still ticking too. So, moving on, we now got the Denver Broncos. Now, Denver, their needs were offensive line, obviously. That was a glaring need. Linebacker, defensive line, and running back. So let's see how they did. So they started their draft off by selecting Garrett Bowles, tackle out of Utah. I love that pick. They needed an offensive lineman, especially a tackle, to cover the blind side, and they got that guy in Garrett Bowles. The Broncos' offensive line has never been known to be really good the past few years, but now they just solidified it big time with Bowles from Utah. And then in the second round, the Broncos selected DeMarcus Walker, defensive end out of Florida State. So now you add another big man-eater under that front defensive line. I don't know if they run a 4-3 or 3-4, so I'm not going to... I think they run a 4-3, don't they? I'm not even sure, but they get another big man-eater for that defensive line in DeMarcus Walker. And then in the third round, with one of their 2 picks, the Broncos selected Carlos Henderson, wide receiver out of Louisiana Tech. So get yourself another weapon for whoever quarterback starts for the Broncos. I know it's either going to be Simeon or Lynch. So we'll see who wins that battle. And then with the second third-round selection, which was a comp pick, the Broncos selected Brandon Langley, corner out of Lamar. Never really heard of this dude, but I'm sure he'll be a beast for the Broncos. John Elway always finds the great players to play corner, And then in the fifth round, the Broncos took a chance on Jake Booty, tight end out of Michigan. Yes, I know his name's Jake Butt, but I call him Jake Booty. Jake Booty Ho. And by the way, they got that pick from the Browns. Yeah, so must be nice. But he's still trying to recover from ACL surgery. But I think he'll be really good in Denver. And then staying in the fifth round, the Broncos, once again, getting this pick from the Packers, selected Isaiah McKenzie, wide receiver out of Georgia. So you get another pass catcher for that offense. And then with your sixth round pick, the Broncos from the Titans selected D'Angelo Henderson, running back out of Coastal Carolina. And then with your last pick, the legit last pick of the draft, after this pick was made, the crews started folding up and getting the heck out of there. I'm pretty sure they're still trying to pick up all the pieces from, the draft. Because they said it would take a few weeks for them to fully pack up and leave Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure they're gone by now. But anyways, with the very last pick, Mr. Irrelevant, the Broncos selected Chad Kelly, quarterback out of Ole Miss. Wow. Chad Kelly. I actually saw a picture, because I was watching NFL Network on day 3. I saw a picture on Twitter of Chad Kelly sleeping on the couch, waiting to be drafted. Maybe he was just dozing off or something, but bruh, come on now. But yeah, that definitely shows you that Chad Kelly most likely will not be involved in the starting or in starting talks, but he'll be good. Give him a few years, he'll be good. So I'm gonna give the Broncos a B+. Very good draft. Addressed their offensive line. They got some weapons. And now so they got another quarterback. Not like Chad Kelly would do too much, but we'll see. But yeah, they addressed 3 of their 4 needs. The only one that they did not address was linebacker. Now, moving on to another team that moved, or they will be moving. The Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland. I'm gonna call them that until they actually move. You know. But yeah, the Raiders. The Raiders. So their needs were linebacker, cornerback, defensive line, tight end, and offensive line. So let's see how they addressed those picks, those needs in their draft. So with their first round selection, 24th overall, the Raiders selected Garyon Conley, corner out of Ohio State. Now, of course, they have the whole rape allegations, but from what I'm hearing, he's innocent. So you got yourself a nice corner. We'll see how he works out in Oakland. And then with your second round selection, the Raiders selected safety Obi Melifonwu out of Connecticut, 6'4". Bruh. Dude, I mean, I feel like he's going to really flourish with that defense, you know? He's the kind of guy that you'd want, guarding tight ends in the end zone. Because, he's tall. He's got size. A lot of teams rely on those basketball-sized tight ends. Those like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" tight ends to, beat corners and linebackers in the end zone. Well, Obi's 6'4". Good luck beating him. And then in the third round, the Raiders selected Eddie Vanderdoes, defensive tackle out of UCLA. I like that pick. Fourth round, the Raiders selected David Sharp, offensive tackle out of Florida. Fifth round, the Raiders selected Markel Lee, linebacker out of Wake Forest. And then in the seventh round, you had, what is this? Damn. What is that, like 4 picks? 4 picks in the seventh round. First one they used, this one is from the Cardinals through the Bears. They got Shalom Luani, safety out of Washington State. The second one they got again from the Cardinals. They selected Jalen Ware. Jalen Ware? I'm going to say it's Jalen Ware. Tackle out of Alabama State. With their 24th pick in the 7th round, 242 overall, the Raiders selected Elijah Hood, running back out of North Carolina. And then the last pick for the Raiders, they selected Trayvon Hester, defensive tackle out of Toledo. That was a pretty good draft by the Raiders. It's mainly a defensive draft, which they needed defense bad. And they addressed pretty much almost every needy position on defense. Linebacker, safety, corner, defensive tackle, linebacker. Yeah. You even got yourself an offensive tackle in David Sharp. And you also got one in Jalen Ware. And then you got Eddie Vanderdoes and Trayvon Hester. I'm sure those two guys are going to be great additions for that defensive line. Then you got Garyon Conley, who's a pretty good cover corner. We'll see where they put him. Excuse me, I just burped. But yeah, I like the Raiders draft. I'm giving them... my phone's freaking going nuts. I'm going to give the Raiders a B-, because they didn't really need to go offense, but they addressed almost every one of their positions. Good draft. Very good draft. Oh, you know what? Scratch. That's not going to be a B-. I'm going to give it a B+. Yeah, B+. Sounds more like it. And now for the defending AFC West champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs' needs were linebacker, quarterback, corner, defensive line, and running back. So let's see how they address their picks. So they started off their first round by trading up 17 picks from 27 to 10 with the Bills and selecting Patrick Mahomes, quarterback out of Texas Tech. So now you get yourself the future, the Kansas City Chiefs franchise right there. Because Alex Smith, he ain't getting any younger. And for all you guys know, he could get hurt one of these times. And you need someone to go in there and who is capable of running the show. And I think Mahomes will be able to do that quite well. And, not to mention, Patrick Mahomes can actually throw down the field more than 20 yards to his receivers. So that's a nice pick in the first round. Then in the second round, the Chiefs selected Passanon. I'm going to say Passanon, defensive end out of Villanova. Then in the third round, you get my boy, Kareem Hunt, running back out of Toledo. He's a Cleveland kid. From the Vikings through the Dolphins. That dude does not fumble. Never. I believe he only fumbled once in his entire college career, his freshman year, and he recovered the fumble. And now that they just got rid of Jamal Charles, I would not be surprised to see Kareem Hunt maybe play a lot for the Chiefs. He's very good. Take it from me. I've seen him play in high school and everything. And even somewhat in college. He's good. You're going to love him. Then in the fourth round, with a comp pick, wow, this one went all over the place. Vikings through the Eagles through the Browns. The Chiefs selected Jehu Chesson, wide receiver out of Michigan. So there you go. You get yourself another weapon for the offense. And then with your fifth round pick, a comp pick from the Patriots, they selected Ukemi Eligwe, linebacker out of Georgia Southern. And then with your last pick of the draft, a comp pick in the sixth round, the Chiefs selected Leon McQuay III, safety out of USC. So overall, a pretty good draft by the Chiefs. I'm going to give these guys a solid B. They were really good, Why don't you give them an A? Because I think, it was a good draft, I mean, they jumped freaking 17 spots with the Bills. Now that I mention that, screw the B part. I'm going to give them an A. I know. Oh, you stupid. No. Now that I thought about it, they jumped 17 spots with the Bills. That's pretty much the reason why the Bills fired Whaley and them. Because, they let the Chiefs jump ahead of them. Like, trade up with them and take Patrick Mahomes. But, I think the Chiefs had a really good draft. Really good draft. Got a pass rusher in Passanon. Got another running back in Kareem Hunt. Got yourself another receiver in Jehu Chesson, who's very good. Then you got a few other, guys who will most likely just be depth picks. Like that Ukemi guy, he'll be a depth selection. Leon McQuay, if he even sees the field at all. Wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, he's another depth pick. But, yeah, definitely giving the Chiefs an A. So that's going to do it for the AFC West draft review. Hope you guys liked it. I'll be back in a little bit for the NFC West. So stay tuned. I'm Crazy Dog, and I'll see you in a little while.